boy, do I have a story for you guys. So, I had a tarot reading. I am a pretty skeptical, cynical person, but always curious. And I don't know that I've ever done a tarot reading before. I've gone to see a psychic a few times. I've done a few walk-ins. Never thought much of it, was never that impressed or anything, or blown away. But my friend here in Miami recommended this tarot reader. She was like, you have to see him. It's crazy the stuff he pulls out. He predicts death. He predicts major life events, and it always comes true. So me being curious, I was like, okay, I have to go see what this is about. Kind of pricey. He charged $175 a session. And my friend said, trust me, it's worth it. And he takes a while, especially your first reading. It'll take as long as he needs. Guys, I was there for 2 hours. It was a 2-hour reading of this guy telling me about my life. And it was overwhelming. I felt drained by the end because, not in a bad way, but just like, it's intense to have somebody tell you about your life and predict things like deaths in your family. And it was a lot. And it was really spot on. So let me first set up the context, the setting. If any of you have seen the movie Death Becomes Her, in Death Becomes Her, Goldie Hawn's character, at one point she's driving up this windy road. It's like thundering, raining really hard, middle of the night, and she drives up to this secluded, mansion that looks really creepy and haunted. And she goes up there, and it's this just enormous mansion where she goes to drink the Fountain of Youth. Great movie, black comedy, dark comedy, whatever it's called. Highly recommend it. From the 90s. Anyway, I show up at this enormous tower, residential tower in Miami. I walk in, palatial lobby in an intimidating way, like very sterile, very Miami, white on white walls, white tile floors, just very cold. It felt like a futuristic luxury, like plastic surgeon's office. Anyway, they lead me up. There's 90 floors in the building, led me up to floor 35. I show up, knock on the door a few times. He doesn't answer the first time. I knock again. This guy greets me, the tarot reader. Tall, ethnically ambiguous, tatted up. And he gives me these, eyes full of mystique, kind of flirtatious energy. I don't know if he's like that with everybody or if it was just me. But he sits me down. As soon as I come in, there's like a little secluded room, with the typical sort of psychic curtain that they have, Religious iconography all in this room. He has a huge wooden table with a ton of tarot cards, several different decks of cards. And then everywhere there's like paintings of high priestesses, voodoo queens, crosses. So I'm starting to sweat like a whore in church at this point. So anyway, we do the reading, and all I supplied him with in terms of information was names, my name, family members' names, and birthdays. So he wanted to know birthdays, I guess to know people's age, but he was really fixated on signs, like, me being a Gemini, stuff like that. Otherwise, I didn't give him any information, and there were certain things that he was eerily spot on about, like health things with family members. Like one specific thing he mentioned about my dad. Your dad is a lot of things, but one thing nobody can take away from him is how good of a son he was to his parents. And that totally jolted me because it's such a specific thing that is really accurate about my dad. He didn't say that about my mom. He didn't say that about me, about any of my brothers. But that's something that anybody who knows people on my mom's side know that about my dad. Like one of the first things they think about with my dad was how nurturing he was towards his parents. It was eerie. It was weird. Relating to this channel, one thing that he kept bringing up was you're about to meet somebody who's going to change your life romantically. You're about to, it's going to happen any minute. The connection will start in June. And at the time of this video, I'm making this video end of May. So June is right around the corner. And I was like, really? kind of disengaged from dating. I've deleted all the apps. I have a bunch of trips coming up. I don't know that I could meet somebody serious right now. He was like, no, just trust me. It's going to happen. And it's one thing for him to say these things, right? Like anybody can say anything, but he's using these cards. So I'm looking at the visuals on the cards, and he would show them to me. And indeed, a card with a couple kept coming up, meaning a romantic couple. It kept resurfacing this notion, this vision of me finding a partner very soon. And he said this will precipitate all these other drastic life changes that are about to come, financially, professionally. Everything is right around the corner, like prosperity and victory. There was a card of victory that kept coming up. So this was really fascinating. And most of the reading was really positive. There were a few like darker things, nothing too tragic immediately, like not with me, not with immediate family members, but things with like friends he brought up. So, of course I leave totally like emotionally, spiritually drained, like freaked out. And my friend, who recommended him, I told her this is what happened, like this was crazy. She was like, don't overthink it, just digest it, be observant of things in your life, and you will see slowly, these things will happen. And then the next morning after a good night's sleep, I thought, well, if he's talking to you for 2 hours, there are certain things in 2 hours that are going to come to fruition, right? But what's interesting is he asked me to record it because he knew it would be a long session. So like, why would he do that if he's full of shit, right? Like he spoke with such conviction and such confidence that it was almost disturbing, like that this guy's telling you about debts and health issues coming up. Like you have to be ready to process that information, even if it doesn't come true, right? To instill that kind of anxiety in somebody, it's like a really powerful confidence to have, to be comfortable doing that, to tell people these things. So it was really interesting. I've never had an experience like this in life. Like I've never had somebody read into things so acutely with me. Like another example, he knew that I was going to go to New York City very soon. There was no way he could have known that. And he said, you have a trip to New York City coming very soon this summer. He did get the dates wrong. He said probably July or August. I, of course, didn't indulge him in it. I just pretended like it was news to me. But June, for my birthday, I'm in New York City. So a few other trips too. He was on point about several things that made me think, what else is going to come true? So I will keep you guys posted if the tarot reader was right. But yeah, have you guys ever done anything like this? Or are you pretty cynical, skeptical? I was pretty cynical myself, but now I'm we'll see what happens.